G'day footy heads, welcome back to the channel if you've been here before and welcome to the channel if you're new. Today we're going to be talking about season 2022. What do we think is going to happen? I'm going to show you my ladder prediction, talking about the teams that I think are on the way up as well as the teams that I think are moving down. I'm also going to have a look at who I think are going to win the prestigious awards, including the Coleman Medal as well as the Brownlow Medal and the Rising Star. As always, I appreciate the support on the channel. If I choose your team in the finals this year, you got to hit that sub button. If I'm way off, leave a comment and tell me why. I'd love to hear all your predictions. The beautiful thing about doing a season prediction is in 7 months' time, you'll be able to look at this and say, oh my God, this guy was way off. He has no clue what he's talking about. But until then, who knows what's actually going to happen with this season. There's a lot of excitement in the air, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of good teams in the comp right now, and none of us know what's going to happen. So, let's get into it. Let's take a look at our ladder prediction. Okay, let's start with the bottom four. Let's start with Collingwood. They've got a pretty young list, 13th youngest in the game. I think Lipinski's a good pickup. I'm keen to see Joshy Dacos, but I think their older, better players are past their prime. So I don't think they're going to challenge the better teams this year. Next, we've got Hawthorn. They've got a new coach, a young list, no expectations. This is the time for Sammy Mitchell to set up the team how he wants, with no expectations of winning. Fun fact, Hawthorn are unbeaten since last July. Think about that. Maybe they will have a good season. West Coast. So I'm just not so sure that their midfield is as good as it was a few years ago. Their list is only getting older. Joshy Kennedy's obviously pretty old now. Jack Darling is obviously not playing due to the vaccination. I'm just not so sure that they're going to challenge the tougher teams. West Coast are also one of the lowest tackling sides in the competition, and with the new interpretation of holding the ball, this could impact them and it could mean they're not winning those free kicks that other teams might be winning. Next, I've got the Tigers. Obviously a well-coached side and so much success in the last few years, but I think they're going to slide back down this year. I think that other coaches and teams have figured out their play style a little bit. Who knows, they could do bloody well and make it to the finals. I don't know, we'll find out. Next we've got Adelaide, the 18th youngest list in the AFL, the youngest list in the AFL. Dawson on the back line should be a big addition. He'll be able to set up that halfback structure to ensure that they can launch that counter-attack off the halfback. Gold Coast. Benny King is a big loss for this team, but they've still got plenty of youngsters and plenty of excitement. I'm keen to see Noah Anderson this year. I think this year he's absolutely going to take off. And obviously, if Matty Rowell can get some games under his belt and not get injured, they are going to have a damn good midfield. I think they're a team to watch. Bloody exciting. Next up, Carlton. They lost Sammy Walsh to injury early, and I think it's a bad omen. Paddy Cripps looks bloody good to go, and I'm sure that he's going to have an amazing season. Liam Jones is also a big out. He was pretty important for their backline there. McKay is going to be exciting to watch this year. I hope he can kick another 60 plus goals, but I just don't think this is Carlton's year for finals. I would love for them to make finals this year. We'll see. Next, we've got North Melbourne. I think North Melbourne's youth is one of the most exciting in the AFL. You've got players like Davies Uniacke, Taron Thomas, and obviously the young Horn Francis. I think they're going to play some good footy this year. They're the 17th youngest list, so I expect some inconsistency with their performances. But all in all, I think in a few seasons' time, they should be playing some damn good footy. Next, in finals contention, the 9th and the 10th spot, I have GWS. Look, I think they scraped into finals last year. They obviously beat Sydney, but they weren't so convincing. Their list is a little bit older than last year, and I'm just not so sure that they're going to make finals again. Next up, we have Geelong. A bit of a controversial one, but their list is only getting older, and that means their better players are now out of their prime years, and I just don't think they've done enough to blood their youth to make them consistently good this year as well. I'm sure they'll prove me wrong. They're one of the best sides in the comp for the last 15 years, but I just don't think this year their list is that good. Okay, let's get into finals. I've got Fremantle making the finals. I thought they had a good year last year. They've got a pretty young list, but I think they've been developing well the last few years. Jordan Clark immediately slotting into their halfback should give them some legs, and that should give them some good counter-attack off the halfback. Next we've got Essendon. They're a young list, so I'd expect a little bit of inconsistency. However, they looked good last year and they are only going to be a better side this year. I think they're a team that could probably knock off some of the top 4 teams. Next, I've got St Kilda in the top 8. Last year, they finished the back half of the year well, and people forget, but 2 years ago, they were a good side and they were challenging for the top 4 towards the end of the season. And I think what they're going to do is find some of that 2020 form. They've also got Max King, who is an absolute weapon. And if St Kilda can win the ball out of the centre and pass it to advantage to him, they will be unstoppable. Next, I've got Sydney in the top 8. They have an exciting young list. However, I think with the youngsters, they're going to have a little bit of inconsistency, but they're going to be one of the most exciting teams to watch. They've got players like Errol Goulden, Campbell, Warner, as well as their older players like Kennedy, Parker, and Buddy, who are just exceptional to watch still. I think they've got a good balance of older players and younger players and should be very competitive this year. Moving into the top 4, we've got the Western Bulldogs. Everybody knows how good the Western Bulldogs midfield is. I don't need to say much more about them, but they're going to be right up the top again. Obviously, they had that bad loss in the grand final, but that doesn't mean that they're not still a bloody good side. Next, I've got Brisbane in the top 4. They need to prove themselves in finals this year, but their list is good. They have an average age of 25 years, and there's a lot of players coming into their best footy. I'd expect Joey Danaher to have a big season, seeing as though Hipwood is out, and I think they've got a lot of firepower with Cameron and Danaher, as well as a good mid setup. Melbourne. Well, we saw how good they were last year in the final. They're only getting better, their list is exceptional. Plus they have an exceptional backline, one of the stingiest defences in all of the AFL. Plus they can attack. Port Adelaide. Bit of a devastating final series for Port. Port Adelaide has plenty of younger players moving into their prime. They have an amazing backline and one of the stingiest in the league as well. This moves me on to my premiers. I think Port Adelaide are the team to beat. Their list is exceptional. They're the 5th oldest list with the 4th most games of any list in all of the AFL, and I think this is their prime time to win the comp. Coleman Medal. I think Joey Danaher is going to find some of his 2019 form. He's going to be the first option for Brisbane, and Brisbane mids will be able to deliver him that ball onto his chest. As a bit of a smoky, I've got Max King from St Kilda. In some of his games last year, he was a contested marking machine. And if St Kilda's midfield can win the ball and kick it to him this year, he should kick 60 plus goals. We saw Ben King last year, how good he was for most of the year. I think this is Max's year to stand up. And then we've got the Brownlow. I've picked Clayton Oliver. He's a contested ball winning machine. My only criticism for him is he does make quite a few clangers, but I think this year he's going to tidy up his disposal. His first half of the grand final last year was absolutely exceptional, and I thought up until halftime he was easily the best player on, so I've got him for my Brownlow. Rising Star Award, I've got young Horn Francis. He's a big-bodied mid and he's good to go, especially with the way that North Melbourne's list is. I can see him slotting in there immediately, getting most of his minutes in the midfield. So that's it for me for season 22 predictions. Leave a comment and tell me what you think. And of course, with the beauty of hindsight, come back in 7 months and tell me I was a bloody idiot. But for now, this is what I think of the 2022 season. It's completely open, there's a lot of good sides and a lot of young, exciting talent. It should be a bloody good season. I can't wait till it starts.